Grass bends under paws that have never pressed into it before. A lion steps forward, then stops. His paw sinks slightly into living earth. He lifts it. He sets it down again. The ground moves. It smells of rain, soil, leaves, and a world with no walls close enough to touch. Above him there is nothing but sky. Not a strip of sky behind bars. Not a pale square seen from a concrete cage. A sky so wide that it has no edge. Wind moves through his mane. Somewhere across the grassland, another rescued big cat calls. And for one suspended moment, this lion is not looking at concrete. He is looking at distance. A tiger lowers her head to the ground. Her whiskers brush through grass. She takes one careful step, then another. The texture is unfamiliar. The softness is unfamiliar. Even the silence is unfamiliar. For the first time in her life, the earth is not gray. These animals do not know what a sanctuary is. They do not know the names South Africa or Colorado. They do not know that people have spent years trying to reach this moment. They only know that the ground is alive beneath them. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe to Last Chance Rescue. Every subscription helps more people see why a second chance cannot wait. Before this first step into grass, before the open sky, before the transport crates and the long flights across continents, these lions and tigers lived in a place where normal life had never been possible. Their story begins at the former Lujan Zoo, about 70 kilometers northwest of Buenos Aires, Argentina. For years, the zoo became known for something that should never have been an attraction. Visitors were allowed close enough to take selfies with lions and tigers. Animals that should have had distance, quiet, choice, and safety became props for photographs. Their lives unfolded in cramped concrete cages, surrounded by noise and people, with almost nowhere to go. The zoo closed in 2020 after years of concern over safety and animal abuse. But a closed gate does not end the suffering inside it. When the animal welfare organization Four Paws first arrived in 2023, there were 112 animals on the grounds. Then time kept passing. Help was complex. Homes had to be found. Medical needs had to be understood. International transport for large predators had to be planned with extraordinary care. And while the plans took shape, the animals waited. By the time the rescue operation began, only 30 lions and tigers were still alive. Nearly half of the animals had died. So many had been lost. Poor nutrition weakened bodies that were already under stress. Infections took hold. Injuries from fighting in confined spaces went untreated or became worse. Organs failed. Concrete cages did not offer room to retreat, room to recover, or room to simply be a lion or a tiger. Those who survived carried the weight of every year that came before. Some were born behind walls. Some may have spent nearly every day hearing human voices without ever having the freedom to walk away from them. They knew feeding times. They knew steel doors. They knew the hard surface beneath their feet. They did not know grass. They did not know a place where they could choose sun or shade. They did not know the scent of a distant tree. They did not know the feeling of walking until their body wanted to rest, rather than until a wall said, "Stop." That is what makes this rescue so enormous. It is not only a move from one enclosure to another. It is an answer to a question these animals have been asking with every circling step and every day behind a barrier. Is there anywhere else? On August 14, 2026, The answer begins to arrive in the form of jumbo transport crates.
For 4 days, through August 17, teams from Four Paws begin loading the 30 surviving lions and tigers for the journey of a lifetime. This is one of the largest captive big cat relocations ever attempted. For some, the door closes on the cage they have known for years. For others, it closes on the only home they have ever seen. The journey ahead is long. The sounds are new. The motion is new. The air itself changes as they leave Argentina. But beyond that door is a future no concrete floor could ever offer. 15 of the animals are bound for Lionsrock Big Cat Sanctuary in South Africa. It is a 60-hectare sanctuary of natural grassland, already home to more than 80 rescued big cats. 15 more are headed to the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Colorado, a vast grassland refuge northeast of Denver. 2 destinations, 30 lives, 1 chance to rewrite everything. Luciana D'Abramo of Four Paws says, "We are putting everything into making this go as smoothly as possible so we can celebrate that 30 lives have improved because of this effort." Four Paws says, "It is the largest rescue we have ever undertaken. We can say it without hesitation." 30 lions and tigers are not numbers on a list. They are 30 breathing animals, 30 different temperaments, 30 bodies with medical needs and memories we can only imagine. 30 beings who have made it through conditions that should never have been allowed to continue. As the planes leave Argentina, the old zoo becomes smaller beneath them. The concrete cages that shaped their days fall behind. For the first time, the future is not a locked door. And then comes the moment that changes the meaning of every mile. At Lionsrock, a crate door opens toward grassland. At the sanctuary in Colorado, another door opens toward open space. A lion steps out slowly, not because he is weak, but because his world has suddenly become too large to understand all at once. He pauses at the threshold. Sun touches him differently here. The wind has room to travel. There is no wall directly ahead. Then he takes a step. The grass brushes his legs. A tiger follows, low to the ground, alert to every scent. She turns her head. There are sounds from far away. There are trees. There is room to move without another animal pressed against her space. She can stand still because she chooses to stand still. This is the turn in their story, not a magical erasure of the past. No sanctuary can return the years lost to concrete. No amount of open land can make those deaths disappear. Rescue does not pretend that pain never happened. Rescue says the pain does not get the final word. If you believe animals deserve more than survival, subscribe to Last Chance Rescue. We tell these stories because attention can become action, and action can become a real home. At Lionsrock, the animals who arrive will have access to natural grassland across 60 hectares. They will join a sanctuary community built for rescued big cats, not for tourist photographs. Their days can have room in them now, room for a lion to rest in the shade, room for a tiger to explore new scents, room for caretakers to support their health without asking them to perform for a crowd. In Colorado, the 15 who arrive at the Wild Animal Sanctuary will enter another landscape made for recovery. Northeast of Denver, the refuge offers a vast grassland setting where animals can begin to understand space on their own terms. The first days may be cautious. That is natural. A lion who has only known barriers may not run into the horizon. A tiger who has lived on concrete may stop often, testing unfamiliar ground. Freedom does not have to be loud to be real. Sometimes freedom is a paw print in soil. Sometimes it is choosing a place to lie down.
Sometimes it is lifting a face into the wind and discovering that no wall is waiting just a few steps away. For these lions and tigers, grass is not a small detail. It is evidence that their environment has changed. It is a living surface, a scent-filled world, a place that invites natural movement. Open sky is not decoration. It is proof that the cage is gone. And the space around them is not empty. It is possibility. That is the gift at the heart of sanctuary, choice. Yet this mission is not finished. 27 more animals remain at the former Lujan Zoo. Four Paws is still searching for safe, appropriate homes for them. Their stories are not complete. They are still waiting for the door that leads away from concrete and toward care. That is why this rescue matters beyond these 30 flights and arrivals. It shows what can happen when people refuse to look away from a difficult problem simply because it is large. It shows that a closed zoo can leave a crisis behind, but it also shows that determined work can build a path out. The road is never easy. It requires funding, expertise, coordination, and places willing to welcome animals with complicated histories. It requires people to see rescued animals not as burdens, but as lives worth making room for. Lionsrock and the Wild Animal Sanctuary have made room. Four Paws has carried the rescue forward, and 30 lions and tigers have reached the other side of a journey that once seemed impossible. Picture that first morning again. A lion wakes where there is grass beneath him. A tiger sees daylight without concrete framing it. The air carries the smells of a real landscape. The ground holds the mark of a paw. The horizon stays where it is, far away and open. They cannot understand the headlines written about them. They cannot know how many people worked to bring them here. They cannot tell us what the first touch of grass means. But they do not have to. Their steps say enough. After lives confined to concrete, they now have natural terrain. After years with no real space, they now have room to move. After a past defined by captivity, they have sanctuary, care, open sky, and the chance to live with dignity. 30 lives have improved because people chose not to give up. And 27 more are still waiting for their chance. Subscribe to Last Chance Rescue for the animals still waiting, the rescuers still working, and the moments that prove a second chance can begin with one small step into the grass.